this is the level of hate Disney's Moana 2 is currently getting, with like everyone turning into Moana purists all of a sudden, speaking about Moana like it was some sort of Miyazaki creation in comparison to the sequel. And so I decided to give Moana 2 a watch, and it's not that bad. Boo! You suck! Calm down, calm down. Go write fanfic! Hi there, brethrens and sistrens. My name is Zest and welcome to the Zest 2.5 channel, where today, with my not so trusty editor, we are going to explore the ongoing enigma that is Moana 2. Now, don't get me wrong, Moana 2 falls short on a lot of things. To start, I got to find out through research that it was supposed to be a Disney Plus series, but this actually got cancelled because our boys at Disney wanted to make a late cash grab. And damn, is it paying off. Now let's get into what I hated, and honestly what a lot of people hated about Moana 2. Then we'll go on to compare this to what I feel the movie does right, and why I feel it doesn't really deserve as much criticism that it's getting. The movie struggled in a sense to put together a cohesive story, and it felt rushed at times. This could be as a result of it being originally planned as a series. As such, characters weren't well elaborated on. Moana 2 had a huge cast of new characters, to which here we get introduced to Loto, Hele, Moni, and we also get introduced to the cutest human character in all of Disney, being Simea. We got introduced to the equivalent of the opposites of a twist villain, being Matangi, and also the main villain who was faceless for the majority of the movie, being Nalo. All these characters did have introductions that looked promising, but nothing substantial came through from any of them. Also, the plot of the story wasn't cohesive, in the sense that I'm sure I'm not the only one that had this experience, but there were situations where I needed more context to actually give a crap. And also situations where I felt, did the movie actually need this? Was this scene needed here? Like, there was this scene where Grand Matala showed up that was like some sort of YouTuber edited that scene in because it was so inconsequential whatsoever to her decision and to the stake of the movie. There are also way more instances of this, like how the movie focused a lot of effort on Matangi's introduction when she wasn't that influential on the movie. And second to last, what a lot of people did hate about this movie, and also I did too, is that it had no sense of stake, aka the motivation that drove the plot of the movie to its climax, well, was not significant. The whole concept of putting together the islands or else your people will go extinct in the future really isn't a high stake motivation for a Disney movie to run on. And lastly, one of the biggest critique is the absence of Lin Manuel Miranda. I say no more. Now, without context, these are all important takes to hate Moana 2. But the movie does a lot well as much as it did wrong when you really look at the grand scheme of things. To start, if you speak about the animation and visual design being a problem in this movie, you need to go back to the Spider-Verse Stan Reddit page you crawled out from. It's 2024, and not everything must look like Spider-Verse or Arcane. The first thing that stands out to me about Moana 2 is its animation, character design, and visual design. For me, it's so vibrant. The level of detail, in my opinion, to the character design is actually something else. And when we talk about visual design, you have to give credit to the animation team for their attention and research into Polynesian culture. You know, it's the little things, from their mannerisms to the dances, you know, even to the ethnic songs. Animation aside, Moana 2 has a plot that struggles from what I will call sequel fever. This is what we see in the Marvel MCU and even in Avatar. The blue Avatar. Here you have little parts of the movie that aren't contextualized because of a sequel being in the works. This could either harm the movie or help it. And for me, this really didn't harm the movie. Matangi's backstory wasn't focused on because of a sequel. Nalo wasn't introduced because of a sequel. And even Simea's connection wasn't built up that much with Moana because of a sequel. Now, I personally feel that the movie didn't struggle without a physical villain being present. And the reason for that is Moana and Mahwi. Moana 2 focused a lot in building their dynamic, and I feel they have a better dynamic in Moana 2 than they had in the first installment of Moana. Here, Mahwi gets to really embrace Moana. It didn't feel like a high and mighty demigod and a puny human. It felt like just two friends. Yes, Mahwi understated Moana's prowess countless times, but here he doesn't act that way because he feels she can't hold her own, but he says those things because he feels he needs to protect her. Moana also wasn't just some kid who felt she could run wild. She matured into someone who understands that her actions has huge consequences and was also able to assimilate what those consequences could mean for those she cared about. Now, watching Mahwi's and Moana's emotional connection and dynamic was really interesting, and it built for me a sense of stake in the climax of the movie. I felt more focused on appreciating Moana and Mahwi's dynamic and not really wanting to lose them than pulling up a dumb island from the ocean. You know, something about the climax of this movie is, yes, the fight was underwhelming, yes, the fight was short, and yes, we had no villain, but you can't tell me you didn't feel anything in the scene. V, put up the scene. You have to be faster, man. Sorry, my editor is having an off day. So, where was I? You can't tell me that you just didn't feel anything in this scene. Even if it was just, you know, a little, you felt something in this scene. The climax of the movie for me kind of made up for the whole movie being underwhelming in that sense. Now, we also have the music, and I could care less about the music. I really don't get why people are hating on Moana 2's music. The songs are not that bad. Unfortunately, they aren't as catchy as Moana's on first watch. But are you telling me that you watched Moana and was able to remember the songs instantly? That's not true. You didn't. So give the song some time and then we'll see. People worked tirelessly on these songs, and playing it down because you're salty about Lin Manuel Miranda isn't fair in my opinion. Okay, so in my opinion, is Moana a good movie or a bad movie? Well, it's neither. It's a bang-on average movie that isn't as bad as people say it is. It actually does more good than people give it credit for. At least people on the internet, I think. So, well, that's it, you carbon-based life forms. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't liked the video, please like the video. God loves you and I love you too. Bye, y'all.